This is the 10th gen Honda Civic RS Turbo Modulo. Next to the Type R, it's the fastest Civic that you can buy locally. But is it worth its 1.6 million peso price tag? Let's find out. The Civic is one of the most loved and also one of the most hated cars in the car community. It is also one of the most modded cars that you'll see on the road, and that may be one of the reasons for the hate. I've actually owned a couple of Civics. I've owned a 5th gen with a D15B engine swap. I've owned a 6th gen, also with a D15B swap, and I've owned a 7th and an 8th gen. This 10th generation of the Civic is the first generation to be offered with a turbocharged engine. The Civic was first introduced back in 2017, but until now it's still a pretty striking looking car. It looks long, it looks wide, and it looks aggressive. I think the most striking angle of the Civic is right here at the back. These huge C-shaped LED tail lamps look pretty futuristic, especially at night. It is a sedan with a trunk, but because of the way the rear window slopes, it looks like a fastback. When viewed from the side, it looks very streamlined with its long hood and a sharply sloping roofline. The standard RS Turbo looks pretty sporty already, but this Modulo Variant adds a couple of aesthetic mods, which make it look even sportier. It has side skirts. It has a chin. It has dual exhaust tips, both of which are functional. It has 17-inch wheels, finished in gloss black. Compared to the regular RS Turbo, it looks a lot meaner. The RS Turbo is powered by an L15B7 engine. It's a 1.5-liter, 4-cylinder, turbocharged, dual overhead cam engine. It has a small turbo, which spools pretty quickly. It produces 16.5 psi of boost out of the factory. Boost is controlled via an electronic wastegate. It doesn't have VTEC. What it has is VTC. VTEC adjusts valve lift, while VTC adjusts timing. Since the engine is turbocharged, air is going to be forced into the cylinders by the turbine, and it will not benefit as much from a higher valve lift. The engine produces 172 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 220 Newton meters of torque at 1,700 to 5,500 RPM. It's way below the Kia Forte, which also sells for 1.6 million, but produces 204 horsepower. One good thing about having a turbo engine is that it's easier to tune. With an ECU tune, you could easily get more than 200 horsepower out of it. Another good thing about turbocharging is that you can produce more power without sacrificing fuel efficiency as much. On the highway, it can do 15 to 16 kpl, and in the city, it can do between 9 to 10 kpl. The interior is unmistakably a Honda interior. It looks similar to other Honda models like the CR-V and even the Brio. You have these cascading elements on the dashboard. It's a pretty premium looking interior. You have leather seats. You have soft touch materials on the dashboard. You have this aluminum looking trim on the dashboard and on the door sidings. The center console is pretty high. On one hand, it makes the interior look pretty sporty. It gives it a cockpit-like feeling. On the other hand, it kind of gets in the way. Imagine giving your passenger a hug and you have a huge chunk of plastic and leather in between you. Underneath the center tunnel, you have a 12-volt outlet, you have USB ports, and an HDMI outlet. It has a 7-inch infotainment screen with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and it has navigation. It is semi-responsive. The map lags a little bit if you move it too fast. It has a backup camera with active guidelines. The steering wheel is leather covered. You have notches on the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock positions. And you have buttons for the infotainment as well as for the cruise control. It has an electronic parking brake. Space at the back is adequate, although it has to be mentioned that it has no air vents for the rear passengers. The Civic RS Turbo has a slightly stiffer suspension compared to the regular 1.8e, so it handles a bit better on tight turns. If you're expecting the RS Turbo to be a baby Type R, you will be disappointed. It is quick, but not that quick. It can do 0 to 100 kph in 8.5 seconds, which is quick compared to other compact cars in the segment, but it's still within the realm of regular cars. It is by no means a sports car, at least out of the box, because it has good tuning potential. I wish there was a manual option though, or at least something other than a CVT. You choose the RS Turbo over the regular Civic 1.8 because you want something that's a bit more exciting to drive, and it will deliver on that department. Just set your expectations accordingly. It is significantly more powerful than the 1.8e, and it also has plenty of potential for tuning. The only limiting factor from a performance standpoint is the CVT. One reason why people hate on older Civics so much is that they're usually modified to look fast, even though they're not. The Civic RS Turbo Modulo Sport looks like it can go fast, and it offers a bit of performance to match the looks. It has new competition though. I got to test drive the 2020 Kia Forte GT, which sells at the same price. It also has a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, but produces 204 horsepower. I'll post a review of the car soon, so watch out for it.